Hello everyone and welcome back to another video, and today I want to introduce you to my newest e-powering project. So I teased this in the community section already, and yeah, so this is a GTX 780 Ti Matrix Platinum. I got this card quite a while ago actually. I did record like sort of half of a repair video for it that I never published because I never actually got the card repaired, or like, well, I could have made a diagnosis video, but so the problem that the card had is it had the same problem that many Asus cards from that era have. It looked like this. So this is the 290X that I had, exact same problem. VRM blows up and leaves a massive crater in the PCB. And basically, if you want to fix a card with that problem without having to e-power it, this is what it ends up like. So you basically just drill at the short circuit until the short is gone, and you'll pretty much always lose at least one of your VRM phases, which kind of look like here too. So you can see that one, like phase number 9, if you count from the bottom, blew up. A bit of a crater here, bit of a crater here. Not as bad as the 290X, but still bad. And I got as far as like digging out that area, so like all the charred PCB material is gone, and like I couldn't see any shorted layers, but there was still a short circuit on the VRM, and I couldn't really figure out where it was because I fed voltage into it, and I just couldn't find really anything. So yeah, so I just kind of left the card in a box for a bit, until like, you know, a while ago I got my 2 more of these. So you know, this went on my 680, where like this one's going off the 680 again once I'm done testing this card. Like, this was the test mount, like the first time using copper plates, and this is the first proper, like, this is gonna stay on this card basically. And you can actually see how it's already a lot better, because this is now a lot shorter and a lot wider, which basically means it's better, because you want your power plane to be wide and short, because you want to move a lot of current, and you want to have as short of a distance to move that current. So having a wider, shorter power plane is better. And to be honest, this PCB is a lot better suited for something like that than the 680 reference PCB, because like, you see how weirdly mounted this is. The reference 680 PCB is just kind of weird. But yeah, so I'm working on this card, and right now it's in a state where the card works. Like, it works like this. It runs benchmarks. I haven't tested if it overclocks yet, but stock, it runs, like, fine. Like, with just this one anemic vCore connection, and same for memory. But yeah, the card runs in this way. So, yeah, there's still some work to be done, though. So, first obvious thing is it needs proper vCore and memory plates. So I can actually have like actually a good connection. Then the next thing is it needs to be cap modded, because so I removed basically the entire output filter for core, and like for memory literally the entire output filter. For core I still have a bunch of multi-layer ceramics here, because when I went to scratch the solder mask off with my Dremel, the capacitors were in the way and I couldn't really get it off well enough to have any good like connections to put a plate on. So I decided to pull these capacitors to either put them back at some point or just put on different capacitors. So I could try to put these back on, or what I could try is like maybe put them on but on the back if the front is blocked by the plate, or maybe scratch the solder mask off here too and then put a bunch of multi-layer ceramics and maybe some more caps over that. Those are kind of like the things that I'm thinking of. I think the best would be put the caps back on the front and then put multi-layer ceramics on the back. Once the front capacitors are in, because I'm gonna be like basically cutting off the rest of the through-hole legs. That will be the best. I think that's what I'm gonna try. It's just, you know, I'm gonna have to fit this, yeah, it's definitely possible to fit the vCore plate there. While still having enough room to get the caps back, so I guess that's what I'm gonna do. But yeah, so needs to be cap modded. Then the third thing that I need to do is short out the sense pins on these 2 8 pins, because currently, like, to run the car you need to plug these 2 in, They don't do anything. I've pulled all the input inductors. They do not provide power to anything. I even pulled the input inductor for the PCI Express slot that provided power to one of the memory phases. PCI Express still powers like the PEX rail or like 1.8 volts or 5 volt LDO. That still runs off PCIe. But like memory or vCore has no longer gets any sort of 12 volt. That's not from like, well, no, it quite literally doesn't get any 12 volt because the 12 volt goes in here and gets converted down. But yeah, so these do not provide any power. They still need to be plugged in because otherwise the card thinks, well, it's not plugged in and it throws the please plug in memory, like, not memory, please plug in the power connectors error. So I need to short the sense pin on this. And then we should get rid of that error because then it looks to the card like they are plugged in, and it's not going to make a difference because they don't power anything anymore. So the card will be able to run fine off the ePower. And that's kind of the third thing that I want to do. Yeah, so that's kind of the three things that still needs to be done. And basically my design goal with this was to first off make it like proper, like make it a really proper ePower. Which it is well on track to be. And also I want this to be basically a really, really reliable, just workhorse 780 Ti. Like I want this to, like, above everything, I want this one to be reliable. So I don't want this to be like jank in any way or like be hard to work with. I want this to be like, yeah, I kind of want this to treat us like, you would treat a normal Kingpin card, except that you can't put a... Well, this might clear an Morpheus, because you can see the ePower is actually still within the 2-slot thing. So, like, the stock heatsink doesn't fit, because that collides here. But, like, a Morpheus sits a bit higher, it might clear this area. Well, yeah. I don't want the ePower to be going off like this, like it does on my 780. I don't want that, because in this way I could SLI the card. I could put another 780, like, would have space for that. So yeah, so I want this to look really proper, and I want this to be reliable. So I'm not gonna do any like crazy things with this. I just want this to be really, really, like a card that you can trust to not die. Yeah, so I am gonna load it with capacitors still. There's probably gonna be something on the back, so it's gonna be a little bit jank, it's probably gonna have some CAN types on the back of the card. I'm probably not gonna put anything behind the core, because, recently I did a bunch of tests with getting better mounts, and so this is what my water block mount looks like right now. Water block's not lapped, so this one's not perfectly flat. Also, the die on the card is not perfectly flat because I got like, you can see how there's a very much more pressure in the middle than on the outside. That's kind of on the core, because on the 680, this one got a pretty good mount, like close enough that I'm like, this is good enough. This one could be a bit better, as you can see. Also, like, this is a much bigger die, so yeah. But basically how I got this, because I never got mounts even remotely that good before, is I started using these. So instead of screwing putting the screws with nuts onto the card, I would put this back plate, and then instead of like pulling at the 4 holes when you put the block on, it pulls on this and like presses, because this right here, it presses the back of the core onto the block and not like kind of presses these 4 holes onto the mounting plate of the block. So if you use back plates like this, I also have a different back plate that's actually, I can show that right now. So I have this one, that's for the phase change. So same concept. So instead of pulling at the 4 mounting holes, I'm pulling at the entire core area. Which basically focuses the pressure inwards onto the core and not like on the outside in these 4 spots, to get better mounts. And I mean, the side effect of using these plates as well, you can't really mod anything in the core area. With the big phase change bracket, you might not even be able to mod anything on the inside of the memory either. So yeah, I'm not going to be modding anything there. which is a bit of a bummer. Like sometimes just loading the back of the cold motor ceramics helps quite a lot. But yeah, it looks like I'm not gonna do that. I might do it on some other card that I am that I'm okay with being janky, but this one I don't want to be janky. This one I want to be like reliable. So yeah. So as far as overclocking goes, I haven't tested any overclocking yet, but I have read the ASIC quality, and this core, the Matrix Platinum is a special edition, because like there's a normal Matrix and there's a Matrix Platinum, and the Matrix Platinum, is like supposed to be like binned, have a good core, and this one is a good core. So as far as the ASIC quality goes, this is better than 91% of 780 Ti's. So pretty decent, I would say. Of course, ASIC quality isn't everything, but so I've benched enough Kepler cards to say that having a high ASIC quality definitely doesn't hurt. So from what I've seen on Kepler is high ASIC quality cards usually do well. Low ASIC quality cards are a big lottery. Some of them are really bad. Some of them can also be really good. So basically the higher your ASIC quality is, just like the chance of having a good card goes up, but having a low ASIC quality doesn't mean that the card is bad. Is basically how it works for Kepler. And then on other generations like Fermi, especially Fermi 1.0, ASIC quality just doesn't matter. You can forget about it. It doesn't tell you anything. Like I quite literally have a 7.2% and a 91% for 80 do the exact same clocks. So, yeah. But it definitely doesn't hurt that the ASIC quality on this is good. Now the one drawback that is kind of a thing that I can't really get rid of is this is on Hynix memory. So this is Hynix AFR, I think. Yeah, AFR. Literally, so like my normal matrix is on BFR. And every single other GK110 based card I have is on AFR. So I don't have a single Elpida card, I don't have a single Samsung card. So yeah, that's like the kind of one bummer, because like, Samsung GDDR5, pretty good. You kind of want that. But it seems that at least in my region, Samsung-based 28 nanometer. I have a couple 770s and a 680. No, actually two 680s that have Samsung memory. But for GK110-based cards, it seems it's pretty much impossible to get Samsung-based cards unless you. I think the Classifieds and Kingpins all have Samsung. Like I think that's just a guarantee. But if you don't get one of these, I think it's pretty impossible, at least like in Germany, to get a Samsung-based card. Like it seems to be more a region thing. Like from region to region, it seems to vary which memory chips you get. So like, so for Germany, on Fermi cards, you usually always get Samsung on 400 series. On 500 series, you also get majority Samsung, some Hynix, very, very rarely Elpida. For 28 nanometer cards, it seems to be like vast majority is Hynix. And same, yeah, just for every 28 nanometer card. Like I have, like my 290Xs have Elpida. Those are the only 28 nanometer cards. No, I actually have a 7770 that also has Elpida. But yeah, and then I have like two 680s and two 770s with Samsung. Everything else, Hynix. And then if you look at other regions, it changes again. So like if I think more eastwards, like East Europe, I think you're more likely to get Samsung and Elpida than Hynix. And I think in the UK you're most likely to get Elpida or something like that. So it's kind of weird. So Hynix AFR isn't bad. Like it scales, like on the card where I tested, it did scale with voltage and it did decent clocks. We can probably expect this to do like 4200 with memory volt mode, maybe like 4300, 4400. But on Samsung, it probably would have been a bit faster. So yeah, so ideally you'd want Samsung, but I'll be okay with Hynix because yeah, I have not a single GK110 with Samsung, so yeah, it's just kind of a thing. You get Hynix if you are in Germany and want a GK110 based card. It's just kind of a thing. At least it's not Elpida. Elpida would have been much, much worse. I'm not sure if you can even get TIs. Like, you can get normal 780s with Elpida. I'm not sure if you can get TIs with Elpida, because, like, TIs come at, like, 3500 stock, whereas 780s come at 3000 stock. Because, like, basically none of the Elpidas do 3500 on the 780s, whereas the Hynix and Samsungs do. So maybe Elpida quite literally didn't have high enough of a speed bin to be used on 780 Ti's. That would be kind of funny. Because it's around the time where they went under. I don't think you can get Elpida on 900 series anymore. And then on 10 series they become Micron. So yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of it though. So overall I'm really happy with how this went. Mounting the plates, like V-Core plate gonna be quite easy. It's also gonna fall out quite wide and pretty short again. So that's nice. Memory will be a bit more of a challenge. As you can see, like it's not straight. It needs to be like a bit angled, which I could just cut a plate like this, but I would be wasting quite a lot of material. I could do a thing where like I bend the plate like 45 degrees. That would kind of make the connection a bit longer, but I think for memory it doesn't really matter that much. It doesn't pull enough current to really have a noticeable downgrade from that. So I think I'm just gonna get a plate and then like fold the plate, you know, like whoop, fold it like that, and then have it just come on down here. So basically the plate will do like a 90-degree bend, like that is kind of what I think I'm gonna do for the memory. And yeah, so that would be it for this video. I'm not entirely sure when I'm gonna finish it. So like the uni semester is ending. I have one more week of lectures to go. And then I pretty soon after I have one really big exam. So leading up to that, I probably won't be able to do much. But after that, I should have a lot of time to focus on things like this. So yeah, I'm gonna keep working on this. You are probably gonna see this again on video once it's finished. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to share how it's going, because the card already works, and I think it looks pretty good already. Like, this is the most proper EPOWER I've ever done. Straight up. This is the best one I've done so far. And it's not even finished yet, so yeah. And in the interest of not making the video any longer now, so thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and until next time, goodbye.